Welcome everybody to a look at a film from the ZAZ collection box set, which I've already unboxed. There's the hard box itself. And the film we're looking at today is 1984's Top Secret. So this is directed by David Zucker and as well as Jim Abrams and Jerry Zucker. That's where the name ZAZ comes from. Who all three co-directed the film Airplane, which is also part of this set. Um, but only David Zucker directed The Naked Gun, which is also part of this set, while Jim Abrams and Jerry Zucker co-wrote that alongside him as well as others. Um, and yeah, in terms of their other directorial efforts as solo people, this is unfortunately the least successful in terms of the box office. It was made for about $8.5 to $9 million, but only made just over 20, whereas The Naked Gun and Airplane made comfortably above 100 million each. And then you also had the director's individual works, your likes of Ghost, which made more than half a billion. You had the Hot Shots films, which made more than a 200 million, 280 million thereabouts in total together. And then the rest of the Naked Gun series was also really highly successful. And then the scary movie films that were also worked on by the one of the directors. So yeah, in terms of their directorial and writing credits, it's certainly not the most profitable film, but it is easily one of my favorites. And it is an action comedy that clocks in at 90 minutes long. Stars Val Kilmer, who was in likes of Top Gun and Batman Forever. But as far as I'm concerned, my favourite films from him have been lesser known films like Thunderheart, as well as the likes of Heat, True Romance, Tombstone, Deja Vu, and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Also got a really good supporting cast for the likes of Peter Cushing, Jeremy Kemp, Omar Sharif, and Michael Goff, who would also star alongside Val Kilmer in Batman Forever as Alfred. So yeah, popular and dashing American singer Nick Rivers travels to East Germany to perform in a music festival. When he loses his heart to the gorgeous Hilary Flamand, he finds himself caught up in an underground resistance movement. Rivers joins forces with agents Cedric and Flamand to attempt the rescue of her father, Dr. Paul, from the Germans who have captured the scientist in hopes of coercing him into building a new naval mine. So although there are a few jokes in this that don't quite land, while there's probably a couple that haven't aged particularly well, the Ford Pinto gag, for instance, hasn't probably aged all that well because the whole furore over the Ford Pinto has obviously long since passed. But as someone who's into cars, I know and understand the joke itself, but it kind of works in its own right as well. We've seen many of a spoof film where someone's slightly hit something and then it's either not gone off in a way that you might expect or it's gone off in a spectacular manner, and that kind of works in that regard anyway, outside of the context of the Ford Pinto itself. The majority, however, of this action comedy is packed to the brim with gags that work mainly of the visual variety that made me laugh so much, either on original watch or on this rewatch, that my face was actually hurting by the time it ended. Now, sure, the plot the jokes hang from are not the is not the best, but it does the necessary job of stringing those gags together while at least not taking away from the hilarity, as the plot never gets bogged down in exposition or boring dialogue or anything like that. The cast is also really good. It is well paced. The production is great. The songs are catchy. The cinematography is on point, which is really rather beneficial to the visual gags. There's a lot of forced perspective gags. There's ones that reveal themselves gradually and such, and yeah, the cinematography has to be on point for those to work, and it is rarely, if ever, boring. So yeah, a really really good effort. I know it's not as highly regarded as Airplane, came out after that. Certainly wasn't as much of a box office success as that film, but I do find this to be very nearly as good as that film. While personally, I feel that this is a little bit more watchable than Airplane in terms of just coming back to it time after time again, just because those visual gags just do not age at all badly in terms of seeing them once and then not laughing a second time. They are continuously funny, whereas there's a lot less visual gags in Airplane, which isn't a bad thing considering the writing is so on point and it's spoofing the disaster genre in such an effective way that it really doesn't need to rely on such visual gags. But yeah, on the whole, I find that Top Secret is kind of underrated in comparison to the likes of Airplane and Naked Gun. So we have the discs for this on 4K and Blu-ray. The 4K looks really, really rather good. I wouldn't say it's an essential film to have on 4K by any means. You know, it's not like visual splendor in in terms of special effects or anything like that. It is pretty much all practical, but it still looks good, and it's going to be the ultimate version of the film in terms of physical formats as well. So yeah, well worth getting. Not sure what extras were on the disc or not. I forgot to actually check. Um, but still, it is a really rather part good. It's a really really rather great film that makes up a really excellent box set. So yeah, get out there and see it if you haven't already. But nonetheless, thank you for watching. If you have seen this film before, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.